Hey friends, Ash here with gentsscents. Hope you're doing well. It's time for another This Week in Fragrance, where I talk to you guys about some upcoming fragrance releases. So this week we've got a new Tom Ford. We've got a couple re-releases of some really big fragrances. We've also got a new Dolce Gabbana The One and a new Ferragamo fragrance. Oh boy. And actually, I'm filming this after I had filmed the original video because of those re-releases that I just found out about. So now I'm going to kick it to me in the past, and in a little bit, I'll talk to you guys about that re-release situation. And before we talk about the first fragrance, I want to thank all of my Beast Mode Gents sponsors, which are all these guys right here. Chef's Kiss, double Chef's Kiss. All these guys. In case you're unaware of what a Beast Mode Gent is, it's part of my membership program. You can click join below to check that out. I've got videos on there for just members. They also get access to videos early. I do giveaways on there, a whole bunch of different things. So if you are a gentsscents member, even if you're not a Beast Mode one, thank you for supporting me. Let's jump into this. First up, let's do the Tom Ford. It is Ebene Fume. That is the worst pronunciation you will ever hear of that fragrance in your entire life. Now, so far, we have approximately no information on this at all, other than here's the bottle, which I think looks fantastic. I think that looks really good. I know some people maybe don't care, but I like the color scheme on there. Whatever, I like it. And it has two notes, Palo Santo and Ebony Wood. No write-up as of right now. Palo Santo, in case you're unaware, translates to holy wood, and it's a wood from South America. Actually, a lot of people will buy it in stick form, so they'll get little Palo Santo sticks, then they'll light it with a candle or a lighter or whatever, and they'll kind of burn it for a little bit, let that go out, and then just waft the smoke around. So then you get the name, right? The name of the Tom Ford, it makes sense because it's like the woods put together. A lot of people say Palo Santo has health benefits, that it helps you feel better, that it can clear negative energy, you know? Like maybe you've got a poltergeist, maybe it would get rid of the poltergeist possibly. I don't know, man, I'm not an expert in this stuff. Maybe a witch cursed you and you take the wood and the curse is gone. So that's it so far, just two notes and the bottle and the name. I'm gonna buy it, actually. I will say that a lot of the most recent Tom Ford private blends I haven't sprung for. Yeah, even the really hyped ones, I didn't pick them up because for whatever reason, they just didn't speak to me all that much. Like Lost Cherry, I know a lot of people love it. I didn't pick it up. Fabulous, I didn't pick it up. Smelled it, didn't pick it up. But this one speaks to me. And maybe it's the coloration of the bottle. Maybe that's like boring into my mind. I feel like though it's because it's centered around woods, and I trust Tom Ford to do quality woodsy fragrances. So I will pick this one up for sure. Even though I know when I look at it at retail, I'm gonna be like this. Ooh, yeah, that's a lot of money. Next up, let's talk about the new Ferragamo. It's Ferragamo Spicy Leather. Now, this makes me think again that the Ferragamo Uomo line might not be long for this world. And I could be wrong. I could be 100,000% wrong here. Frankly, I hope I am, but it's not looking good. The last Ferragamo Uomo fragrance was Urban Feel. That came out in 2019. Here we are in 2021, in the second half of 2021, and Ferragamo is coming out with their second flanker in their newest line. Doesn't look great. So it looks like this is it. Ferragamo Uomo. Eps in the chat. Rest in peace. Pour one out for your dead fragrance homies. Okay. Ferragamo Spicy Leather is a new leather aromatic woody fragrance for men launched in 2021. This special edition portrays the magnetic and charming personality of the Ferragamo man as he takes his place in the world, embracing the power of consciousness and self-understanding. Oh man, I actually low-key love that. It's like some kind of, what is it, like Tony Robbins, like somebody telling you how to do your best. You need to embrace the power of consciousness and self-understanding. Only then can you become a complete person and fulfill your greatest goals in life. A touch of golden brightness opens the fragrance as the fluid accord of saffron fuses with the citrusy freshness of bergamot and lemon. Then the complex, multifaceted soul of black pepper jazzes up the heart, blending with the spicy and woody notes of nutmeg and cedarwood, together with powerful aromatic clary sage. In this mysterious journey, mellowed by the deep, creamy pleasure of patchouli and sandalwood, the blend finally releases its distinctive Ferragamo leather accord, an exclusive element and a unique signifier of the house's balance between artisanal flair and charismatic appeal. So with this one, we have a top of bergamot, lemon, and saffron, a mid of black pepper, nutmeg, clary sage, and cedar, and a base of leather, patchouli, and sandalwood. I am a fan of leather fragrances in general, but I will say that this looks like the most typical way to go about doing a leather fragrance if we're talking designers, and that is add on saffron and emphasize the leather mixing with the saffron. Now there's a reason for that, and that is saffron and leather usually work together really well, like this. Whoop. Kind of like citrus and ginger, it just works. So while on the one hand, you could look at this and say, this is probably going to be a completely competent, very nice smelling leather fragrance. That's a big positive. On the other hand, you could look at it and say, man, they didn't really try very hard, did they? Now, of course, you can't really make up your mind one way or the other on this until you smell it, because it could be mind-blowingly freaking awesome. Awesome, dude. But we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. So Ferragamo Spicy Leather coming out soon. Last up, we've got Dolce Gabbana, the One Gold Intense. Gotta throw that intense in. If it was just the one gold, people would look at it and be like, another flanker. But then you put intense on the end and they're like, So this year, you can't see it, but it's up here. We already have the one luminous night that came out, but that one's pretty hard to find. You have to go to Harrod's website and order it from there. At least that's what I had to do. Haven't seen it pop up at any discounters as of yet. I imagine it eventually will, but not so far. And now we have the newest, the One Gold Intense. This is a fantastically masculine fragrance from Dolce & Gabbana. The One for Men Gold Intense is a tribute to men with a natural, almost magnetic attraction, to the gentleman with an innate elegance, the man who relies on his own unique style. It's got a top of bergamot, ginger, and blood orange, a mid of clary sage, cardamom, and geranium, and a base of woody amber and patchouli. And when I see woody amber, it's just amber woods. Let's just call it what it is. I'm hoping that this one's gonna be awesome because the one line kind of peaked with the one eau de parfum. Kind of like Uncle Rico, you know, it peaked early. You had the one eau de toilette and people loved it. It sold like crazy, and then the one eau de parfum came out. Ooh, even better. Me gusta. Nice, even better. And then they came out with more flankers, and some of them were really good. Others maybe not as good. But it never really seemed to catch the same steam as when the eau de parfum was released. But as we've seen in the past with fragrances like Light Blue Eau Intense, when you have a flanker that comes out that just hits and people say, yes, I like it, it can revitalize a line like that. So we'll see. We'll see. Is this going to be another one that just kind of falls by the wayside? Or is this going to be like a rebirth of the one? Looking at the note breakdown, nothing necessarily jumps out at me, but I would say that it looks like it's going to be a fresher take on the one, which I could be completely wrong about, but just looking over this, that's what I would guess. Because that base with just kind of an amber woodiness and patchouli doesn't look like it's going to have as much of that richness, that warmth that you would expect from like a wintertime fragrance. And then when you look at the top with the bergamot, ginger, and blood orange, it could really be pushing that citrusy fresh opening. But again, we'll see. Hey guys, it's me again. Time to talk about that re-release. And it's actually a pair of re-releases. It's Valentino Uomo and Valentino Uomo Intense. Yeah, these ones, they originally came out in 2014 for Uomo and 2016 for Uomo Intense. And if you like those fragrances at all, or if you've watched many fragrance videos or, gone onto forums or anything like that, you've probably heard at one point somebody talking about those fragrances being discontinued. And that's because they sold out and they were getting harder to find, and everybody was speculating that they had been discontinued, just axed. And actually, depending on how deep you dig into this, you can see that Valentino changed parent companies, and a lot of people were actually saying, no, they're not being discontinued. But Valentino is changing parent companies, and they're basically reconfiguring everything, which is causing a bit of a supply chain issue. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into that because that'll take too long, but those fragrances are being re-released as Valentino Uomo Intense and Valentino Uomo 2021. Or at least that's what I'm going to call them. I think officially it's just still Valentino Uomo Intense and Valentino Uomo. Now, one thing you're going to notice right away is the packaging is changing a bit. The bottles have the same general shape, but now they no longer have the built-in atomizer. They have the cap, which you find on Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Yellow Dream. And they also have the little spike around the collar, or the spike collar, whatever. So your next question is probably, well, that's cool that they're being re-released. That's awesome. Are the fragrances staying the exact same? My answer is, I don't know. Yeah, they're really helpful. Sorry about that. You can actually go right now online to Parfumo and see the new listings for Uomo Intense and Uomo. And one thing that you'll notice right away, if you're familiar with the fragrances anyway, is the notes. They've changed. So this means one of two things. The fragrances have been reformulated and they've been changed, and they're going to be something new being released under the same name and same general bottle style, or they're just giving you a fuller note breakdown. But I think it trends more toward it being a little bit of a rework. Let's go over the notes. So for Valentino Uomo Intense, the original note breakdown was clary sage and mandarin orange in the top, iris and tonka in the mid, black leather and vanilla in the base. Pretty simple. Now here's the new note breakdown. Nutmeg and mandarin orange in the top, sage and juniper in the mid, iris, vanilla, patchouli, tonka, and leather in the base. So you have the same general makeup here. You have iris, you have tonka, you have leather, you have vanilla, you have mandarin orange, you have sage. So really the only difference here is you have the addition of patchouli, you have the addition of juniper berry, and you have the addition of nutmeg. So that doesn't seem like it's going to be too different. I would imagine it's going to smell pretty much the same, or maybe exactly the same, not sure. For Valentino Uomo, it changes a little bit more. For Valentino Uomo, the original note breakdown was bergamot and myrtle in the top, coffee, hazelnut, and cocoa in the mid, leather and cedar in the base. For the new release, it has bergamot and lemon in the top, iris and vetiver in the mid, and then cardamom and black pepper in the base. Now, I do want to point out that it looks like that note breakdown is probably not entirely accurate. It's not very often that you're going to see cardamom or black pepper as a base note. So I would imagine that re-release note breakdown is going to be changed up, I would think. It wouldn't be a surprise to see cardamom and black pepper in the mid, and then iris and vetiver in the base, for example. Now, assuming that this note breakdown is correct, assuming it is, okay, that's a pretty big change. No coffee, no hazelnut, no cocoa, no leather, no cedar. Addition of iris, addition of vetiver, addition of cardamom, addition of black pepper, addition of lemon. That's a big difference. Now you could say in the top, okay, bergamot myrtle, it changes to bergamot lemon. Maybe they just thought bergamot and lemon sounded better and the top is pretty much the same. But assuming these other changes are accurate, that's a big difference. Either way, can't tell you for sure yet because I don't have the bottles in my hands, but I wanted to let you know Valentino Uomo Intense and Valentino Uomo are officially being re-released, at the very bare minimum repackaged and possibly changed. But still, there will be a fragrance on the market under the name Valentino Uomo and Valentino Uomo Intense. That went on for a long time, but there was a lot to break down there. Back to me in the past. So there we go. Just 3 fragrances, not too much, but 3 interesting ones. 3 fragrances that could mean a lot for the brands and the lines that they're involved with. Again, a shout out to all you Gents members out there and to everyone that stayed until the end. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. Stay safe out there.